Hey, everybody, this is going to be an interesting session. We're going to take a look at what I was taught years ago, and I've done this well over 10 times during my career, on how do I model after somebody where I really like their work and admire their work, and I'd like to do something very similar to what they're doing. How do I do that? Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist trying to push ourselves out creatively and really improve our craft. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump into this week's session. And I'd like to thank Ryan, which I have permission to use his name, and he had emailed me, and I'm not going to read the entire email. I'm going to paraphrase what he had sent me, but Ryan says, I've been following a certain person on Instagram. The name is Meg Looks. I think it's pronounced Looks or Lukes. Sorry, Meg, if I misspelled mispronouncing your last name. But he gave me the link. I'll share the link with you here in a few minutes. He says, I'm struggling to find out how she does what she does. And I would love to do this for fun with my family. So again, this is not for business. It's just for his family, but he wants to model after her style of work. So he is trying to get some advice on trying to get in within the ballpark of the type of work that she does. So hopefully this will help you out, Ryan. But this isn't specific to Ryan. For the people who are watching, I was taught what I'm going to share with you years ago. Now, this is my 20th year in photography and as a photo artist. And this is way back, boy, I'm going to say probably about 2007. And I can't remember, I apologize, who taught me this. It's either, and both of them, I believe, are retired. David Zeiser, I know for a fact, is retired. I was taught that method from him or somebody else, Sandy Puch, and I think Sandy also is retired from photography because it goes way back. Anyhow, I'd like to take credit for this method, but it's a 5-step process. So here we go with the process here. Number one, and this goes for everybody. So in other words, if you really like somebody's landscape photography, you really admire their work or their fine art work or wildlife, product shots, whatever it is, whatever genre you're in, family portraits, we're going to take a look at here. If I really like it, how do I get close to what they're doing? You know, how do I work this out? So here's the 5-step process to get done. And again, it takes some work and effort. So this is for serious people, not curious people. You know my attitude about that because I was taught that too. Curious people love, I learned a lot, but they don't take action. Serious people go, I'm taking action. So Ryan, I'm trying to encourage you to take your time, follow these steps that I'm going to share with you. It'll pay you big dividends if you stick it out and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. So again, apply this to if this is landscape photography or something else out there. So number one, what you want to do is actually get yourself a sheet of paper, and it's a 5-step process. Step number one is to re-engineer the images of that photographer or photo artist that you really like. You're going to dissect that, and you're going to write down what you notice are common things that they do on paper. Now, when we take a look at Meg's work here, I came up with 10 items. Could be more. I just had to do something to explain the 5-step process. So that's what you do first. This will make more sense when we walk through this. Number two is you set up the photo shoot. And then after you get done with your photo shoot and you throw it in your editing software and you're done, what you do is you go back to step one, and that's the list you came up with, and grade yourself how well you did on all those items. And there will be some items that you either forgot to do or you just didn't do that great of a job. And that tells you to do step number 3 now. And step number 3 now is to go back and repeat the process and improve on the items that you didn't do too well. And again, this will make more sense when I give you an example. Okay, so step number 4 is you're repeating it. Okay, so 3 is grading yourself. How did I do? Number 4 is to repeat this process. Let's do it again. Okay, and then again, keep doing that And then the very last thing, step number 5, when you're ready for it, is if that person ever offers any kind of online training in that, that's when you want to sign up for that. You don't want to do it right away, and here's why. It will make more sense. The training you'll get so much more value out of the training if you try to do this on your own. And then when you get the training, you'll go, oh my gosh, I like what they did. It's better than the way I did it. So you're going to pick up some things that are really going to stand out. But if you didn't try anything and you just dived in and bought training material, whatever, you're missing a lot of stuff. So it's better to dive in without any training, try to do it on your own, and then get the training to just fine tune everything. And then again, the icing on the cake is, hey, I'm going to go to a live workshop if they ever have to offer that. So I've done that well over 10 times with different people throughout my career. And I've repeated that process over and over and over again. And that's the way I get the best results. So here we go. Let's start with step number 1. Okay. So first of all, we need to go take a look at her work. So let's go to Meg's website. So right here, I'll put the link in the show notes to her website, but it is www.megloeks.com. I think it's pronounced Lokes. So Meg Lokes. Again, I apologize, Meg, if I mispronounce your last name. And let's go to a category called Portfolio. And when we go there, I'm going to click on the first image there. And let's just click on Next. And Next. So we just see what her work is about. And sort of like analyze these things we're looking at here. And I'm going to come up with a list about 10 different things that I found interesting and is sort of a common thread. So this is step number 1. I'm trying to reverse engineer her images and basically analyzing stuff and writing it down to help me on a photo shoot, right? To try to emulate what she has done. So this is some of the images. I did find out that she was, because I did more investigation on her, and she did mention that she has been inspired by a lot of Norman Rockwell, which I have too in the past. And so I've noticed that in some of the images, especially this one that I'll share with you a little bit later. But let's take a look at, I'm going to close out of this. Let's jump into this image right here. And let's take a look at the next image. And you can sort of study that. And let's take a look at this one. I love this one. I love the expression right there. This would be a fun one to do, by the way. Ryan, maybe pick something out the model after that, but if have your wife using hairspray, the great expression there. And let's go to the next one. Now, that is Norman Rockwell, right? Sorry, I jumped ahead right there. Let's go back to this image. Whoops. Boy, my mouse is goofing up here. Come on, mouse. Okay, so you take a look at this. Sorry about the jumping around. Look at that image. She's got a black eye. She's in trouble, and it looks like the parents are there in the background in the other room. That's Meg and her husband. Meg and her husband, I should say. But this is the Norman Rockwell image that she was influenced on. This is somebody who got into a fight, obviously at school, and this is their principal right there in the principal office, determining what the punishment might be. So when you look at her images on her website, here's what, let me just go back here. I'm just going to go right there. Here's what I found as a common thread through her images. And I came up with a list. And again, step number 1, you want to write this down. So step number 1, she's really good at storytelling. So that's on my list. I wrote it down on paper. That's what you're supposed to do, storytelling. Okay, number 2, she's incredible if you look at set design. So I wrote down set design. Okay, next thing is color palette, not color grading. Color palette is, look at the clothes that she's wearing. The color palette she chooses is very, you could tell a lot of attention is done to that with her set design and the color, complementing colors, that kind of stuff with her images. When I've read up more about her, she is mentioning that color palettes are very important. I'm analyzing how she's framing her shot. So I wrote down framing the shot. Posing / acting expression. That's all one. So in other words, this is the posing, but look at the expression on the daughter, right? it adds to the story right there. So the posing, the acting, the expression, really important. The lighting is really important. I find that she does a lot of soft lighting. And then I found out later that a lot of her lighting is natural light, but other times she is using a shoot-through umbrella or large softbox, and sometimes she's using both. She's using both the ambient light, the natural light, along with a strobe just to add to her image. But everything she does, you're not getting really hard shadows, is very soft. A lot of her images, not all, but a lot have a soft glow to it. And then dodging and burning, she does a lot of that. Skin is very smooth. There's no imperfection because, again, this is art. So you can get rid of, any acne or whatever it is, just smooth out the skin. I see a lot of that. And then the very last thing is she has a very unique color grading. So those are the 10 things I came up with. Maybe you'll come up with more, but the key thing is step number 1, you want to write it down. That's really important because after that, step number 2 is when you now go in and set up a shoot. And when you get done with the shoot, you take that and throw it into software, which I'm going to show you an example of 2 or 3 things in Photoshop here in a minute to help you out, Ryan. But so stay in there till the end. And by the way, if you're learning anything, if you can do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. The next time I upload a video, you get notified. All right, so step number 2, let's say you did the photo shoot, you figured something out, you threw it in your editing software, you're done. Here's what you do. Step 3, how did I do based on my list? So what you do, and this is the key to getting better, you go through and you go, storytelling. How is my storytelling in my image? Oh, perfect. It did a good job. How's my set design? I think it's fine. I think I did a good job. How's my color palette? So-so. I could probably do a better job. Okay, so again, I would circle that and say, okay, I need help on my color palette. Posing, expression. Oh, I didn't get the best expression out of my daughter or whoever, the person I was with, and that it's sort of average. I could do better. So I would circle that. Okay, that needs to be improved. So I would just keep going down the list. Oh, shoot, I forgot to do dodging and burning. Doggone it, circle that. So my point is, after you get done analyzing what you've done and you went to your list and you circle things that you need to improve, you go to step number 4, because 3, again, is really how did I do? And you're analyzing your work based on your list. Step number 4, repeat. In other words, let's do another shoot. And hopefully I improved in the areas that I circled on my notes right here. Okay. And then the very last thing, whenever you're ready, could be the end of the year, next year, it doesn't matter. And I don't know your financial situation, but does she offer any kind of courses online? And by the way, let me go back to her website. So back here at her website, here's the portfolio we're looking at. How about this? Online workshops. So when you are ready, take a look at this. I might be registering for this later in the year because doggone it, Ryan, it's your fault. And that is, I love her work and I think I'm going to do a personal project later in the year if I got time. And definitely I'll do this on my own based on the method I'm sharing with you. And then I'm going to invest probably this workshop here, self-paced course, $69. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. So that is number 5. And that is, the reason you want to try to do this on your own first before you invest into any kind of online training, you'll get more out of the online training because you've experienced on making mistakes. And then things are just going to hit you between the eyes when you get through the training like, oh my gosh, I love the way she did that. It's a better method than what I came up with. That's how she did that. Oh my goodness. So you'll get more out of the online training if you do it after working that 5-step method I've been talking about right there. And by the way, let's take a look if, not only online stuff, but how about in-person workshops? I would love to have gone to this, but again, it's too late. It's already happened. January 10th and 11th, she would have been in Cleveland, Ohio. If I would have known about this and I had the time, I probably would have gone there for this reason. She is from a northern part of Michigan, about 6 hours away. Way too far for me to go to interview her up there and stuff. Plus, it's winter time right now, and it's like way too cold and too much snow. But hey, let's go to Norway for an online class, right? Austin, Texas, she's going to be there, all the way down to WPPI, and this one here is sold out. Maybe she'll offer some, in-person workshops later in the year. Don't know, but again, she does have some online courses, so definitely, take a look at that. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense. Now let's jump into Photoshop. Okay, so what I'm going to do here in Photoshop, let me open up a couple images. And here's the assumption now. Number one, this is the photo shoot. Now, this is a stock image. I didn't have time to come up with something and do something, so I grabbed a stock image. But this is an image I want to model after in terms of color grading. So let's pretend, I have my laundry list that we did from step number one. I did the photo shoot, and now I'm in my editing software. I'm going to duplicate this, Control J, so I can do a before and after. I'm going to right mouse click to choose Convert to Smart Object. Okay, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. Now, the first thing I found out is, now, again, I'm going through the list and sort of a common theme I'm starting to see in her work. I found out that she purposely will underexpose her images. Now, it might be perfectly exposed in the camera, but when she brings it in her editing software, she will slightly underexpose that. So what I want to do is, because I'm not in Lightroom, you could do this in Lightroom, but I'm going to do this under the filter drop-down menu. I'm going to do this in Camera Raw. Same engine and features in Camera Raw. Oops, where are we at? Camera Raw right there. As there is in Lightroom. It's just laid out different. And I'm going to come to the category here called Light. And under Light, I'm just going to push that exposure down. Well, maybe not that far, but about right, let's say about right there. And then I'm going to take the highlights. I'm going to push the highlights down. Maybe about right there. I'm going to push my shadows all the way up. And the whites, I'm going to maybe move that down just a little bit. Now I'm going to click on OK to accept that. So again, this is underexposed. And here's why I want to make this a smart object layer. Oh, darn, I think I made it too dark. Well, right here, it says Camera Raw Filter in Layers. If I double click on that, that will open up Camera Raw, and it remembers my settings. And I go, I pushed that exposure too much. So I'm going to bump that up just a little bit more, and now I'll click on OK. So that's why I want this to be a smart object layer. Now, next thing I want to do is color grading, and that's why I want to have this image open. And so I'm getting close almost to that feel and look right there. But I'm going to go to the filter drop-down menu. So again, I'm on the layer that's a smart object layer. I go to filter drop-down menu. I'm going to go to Neural Filters. Now, this is the latest and greatest version of Photoshop 2025. We've had neural filters for quite a while, and they keep modifying, updating certain ones, like this one right here called Color Transfer. Even though it says beta, that means it's not completely finished, but we can still use it. And so I'm going to turn that on. And then when that turns on, I'm going to go to a category here called Custom, because I don't want to use any presets here. I'm going to go to the Custom and select an image. Now there's a folder here. If I click on this, it opens up a folder where I can go navigate and go find an image to point to. Or in a drop-down menu, it goes, oh, you have this image right here available to you that's opened up. So I'm going to select that image right there. And it's going to apply the color grading to this image here. Now this is the image it's referencing, this one right here in the tab. And if I do click and drag over this, it will recalculate how it's going to do the color grading. If I expand this to add more colors, it'll change it. You can actually see that changing. Whoops. So there's Again, different sections. Well, it allows you to, make some fine-tune adjustments. I'm just going to clear the crop. I want it to analyze and use the entire image. So that's what I'm doing there. Now, the key thing here is toward the bottom, you have some sliders that you can play with, like luminance is the brightness of this if you need to push it up. Color strength, if you want to push that up a bit. Let me push that even more. You see I don't know if that's showing up, but the reds here is really popping a bit there. And I'm not going to change anything else here. The hue and, brightness, well, this is a different kind of brightness. I'm just going to push this back a little bit. Here's what I want to do. I don't want this as a new layer here at the bottom on the output. I want it to go, because I'm on the Smart Object layer, it should go back to a Smart Filter. So I got to make sure I choose that. So now when I choose OK, there we go. If you take a look at here, there we go. There's the neural filters. Now here's what's really cool. With the neural filter, I can come over here on the far right, double click here. This opens up another dialog box. So right here, and over here, I can say, oh, the opacity. Maybe I don't want it to be as strong. I can move the slider to be something different. Or how about if I do a blending mode, like, I don't know, multiply, overlay. Overlay is a little bit too intense. How about soft light? Ooh, I like that. But I'm going to bring this down maybe closer to, let's go about 55%. So there's a before, after, before, after. And again, you're doing this based on your vision, okay? My settings here doesn't mean this is what you have to be. It's your vision, what you want to do. You want to put your own personality into this. Okay, so now I've got that done. And again, what I would be analyzing if I said, okay, I'm finished with this. Did I miss anything on my list? How strong I am? What do I need to work on? That kind of stuff. And that is when you get into step number 3. How did I do? And I'm analyzing how I did and look at areas I need to improve by circling it there. And then I would do step 4, and that's repeat the process, right? Do another image. And then consider the last thing, number 5, which tends to be the icing on the cake. And that is invest in some online training. You'll understand and get more out of the online training if you do this stuff yourself. Okay. Now, I'm going to share a book with you if you hang in there, but I want to do one other thing. I want to do a Smart Object layer, Shift Control Alt E. That would be Shift Command Option E on a Mac. So that's my visible stamp layer. I want to desaturate the color here. So Shift Control U, that would be Shift Command U on a Mac. I believe if you want to do it the long way, it's under Image, Adjustment. Yep, there it is toward the bottom. Just desaturate. Okay, I'm going to make that into a Smart Object layer. So right mouse click on there, choose Convert to Smart Object. And the reason is because I might want to come back later and tweak things. I'm going to go to Filter. I'm going to come down to Blur, Gaussian Blur. When the dialog box opens up, apply a blur to the image. Now, again, you're sort of guessing at this. I'm going to do close to 10 right there. Click on OK to accept that. And then I'm just going to do a blending mode in this example of soft light. I don't know if you can see that. This gives it sort of a soft glow look to it. So there's my before and after on that. And if I think it's too much, I can pull down, the opacity right here in layers, make the adjustment, based on, again, your vision. Just because I'm dropping it down, your image may not look good drop down. Maybe it's going to be 100%. So anyhow, so that's, because some of her images had sort of that soft, dreamy look, and that's how I would do that in Photoshop. Okay, now let's take a look at some other option. Let's say you just can't do online right now or something like that. Here's a book I'm going to share with you. No affiliation. I don't make any money on this. This is somebody I've been following for quite a while, Glyn Dewis, from the UK. This is his book. I bought this back in 2018, I believe. I think it was published in 2017. But there's a chapter in here. And by the way, the name of this is, I'll put a link to it. Well, yeah, it's probably on Amazon. It's like around $21. You can find it on Amazon. Just do a search for Photograph Like a Thief. And I'll put the image here on the screen. And there is a chapter in there called reverse engineering. I don't know if that's going to show up or not. Might get blown out, but reverse engineering, how you analyze an image, what we were actually doing in step number 1. And then it gives you ideas on how that was done and how you can modify things in Photoshop in here. I don't know if you ever heard of this photographer before. How about this one here? I don't know if you can be able to read that or not. Annie Leibovitz, inspired image. And again, after taking the images, how to do the lighting, all this stuff is all right here. So it's a really cool resource to have if you can't afford to get the online, training from her or whoever you're modeling after. It could be a landscape photographer, boudoir photographer, a person that photographs family or children, whatever it is. Because the method I'm trying to share with you works in all the different genres of photography. It's not limited to what Ryan just sent me. I'm just trying to give him sort of a roadmap on what to do. By the way, if you are learning anything, hopefully you are, if you can do me a favor, like the video. If you have not subscribed, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Next time I upload a video, which is about once a week, you'll get notified on that. All right, so with that out of the way, I think I'm done. Hopefully you've learned something. Again, let's get that camera out and back to you, Ryan. Hopefully this helps you, gives you a direction. The only negative thing about you sending me this email is I love Meg's work, and I think I'm going to do a personal project toward the end of the year, and I'm going to end up investing in one of the online courses. I would love to meet her in person in Michigan. Hopefully that'll happen. But again, for everybody else, let's get that camera out. Let's think literally, creatively, out of the box. Until next time, see ya.